Sit. Point is, so they don't get used to seeing that big fluffy jacket, because not everybody walks around with a big fluffy jacket on all the time. The muzzle, I mean, it's going to protect us from getting bitten. Quit. It's going to protect us from getting bitten, and it's a little bit of a confidence builder for him, because he doesn't have his teeth to use. He's just got that muzzle on, so their biggest weapon is their teeth. They don't have that. A lot of times they lose confidence. So now I can show them that you can still fight without your teeth. And it still hurts, it's still exhausting because there's a big metal band in front of that they hit you with. They kind of muzzle punch you.
Hit that front here.
But
that's all the big steel bar right there in the front of that.
But we use it for not just fighting, for like playing too. You can see he still wants to play with that ball. See, I have a ball in my hand. Here.
Oh!
Whoa! So one way I got my dog used to his muzzle.
You're gonna record.
I bought him a soccer ball.
Hey, unless recording. I'm recording.
I'm going to be recording in a second.
So I said, to get my dog used to his muzzle, I bought him a soccer ball. Well, it's slick. So you take him out in some little bit longer grass, they can't bite it, and he will just push that ball all over the field. So they get used to, if you first put something on somebody's face and they can't use their mouth, they're going to take their paws, try to rip it off. They don't like it. Now we put it in, after getting them used to it, and they don't pay much attention to it anymore.
Blocks. So like he is crazy, but he's a lovable dog. No. Well, he's lovable with me anyway.
Dog hates me.
Get that ball. Get that ball, buddy. Get that ball. Get it. He's gonna try until he can get it, which is gonna take a while.
Did you touch on articles that are tracking?
I didn't do articles. I did kind of touch on tracking with the lead.
So another thing we do is article searches. Whether it be you run from me for bad reasons and you try to throw something away from me that you don't want us to find, or I've had a buddy that lost a cell phone out in the field mowing. He called me. It was like 2 hours. That phone had been laying in that field. Took my dog out there and he found it in like 3 minutes. So when they do an article search, it's not necessarily based off of my scent, your scent. It's the freshest scent. So I'll take them to, like a business in town. I work midnight, search a bunch of businesses that are closed. I'll get out of business, toss some stuff out. I'll wait, an hour, go out there. Well, there's already trash out there in the parking lot from the day's business. Broken pins or cups or whatever. He'll go up and check them just because it's something there on the ground. He'll check it and he keeps moving. They'll find what it is, and typically when they find an article, they'll place it, they'll lay down, place it between their paws, and they'll get their nose to it. And they'll keep looking at me. So like I said, I just got back from the academy with my dog. I think we've been back for probably less than a month, or around a month maybe. I had a guy that kicked his way into somebody's house, pulled guns on him. Before we get there, he takes off running, throws a gun in some really thick woods. My dog went out there, found it, and sent the guy to prison for a very long time. Without that gun, that case probably went nowhere. So they do things that we're not capable to do. Like I said, the guy, I walked right past him. I might not have found that guy if I didn't have my dog there. Because like I say, they don't hunt with their eyes, they use their nose. That ball on a rope there is my dog's toy. It's one of his favorite toys. Now in a room like this, they see it, yes. But at nighttime, like I said, I've thrown it out. My headlights are on. He can see the ball. I've seen him run directly over the top of the ball. He'll make it 5 feet past it, and by that, like if the wind's pushing past it, he'll catch it with his nose, and he'll just completely spin around and go back to it, even though he just ran right over the top of it. There's no way he didn't see it. But it's because he's not using his eyes to find it, he's using his nose.
Off Megan.
Essentially, we try to make them feel like everything they can do without a muzzle on, they can do with a muzzle on.
Off Megan.
with the articles, like I said, being the freshest scent, that's essentially how tracking will work too. You know, it's freshest scent, it's broken grass, but like if you would just walk through there, and then 10 minutes later, I'm chasing the guy that runs, you know, across your path. He's going to stay on mine because that scent is essentially fresher than the one that you had left behind.
Ball taken. So this is where that obedience that Sergeant Bergman was talking about when you guys first got in here. Why we harp on obedience so much. So we do this, get their drive up, get them to where they're like, those wires aren't crossing right, and then give him obedience. So he loves this bite fellow, as you can tell, but so I let him fight it, give him a command to lay down, give him a command to sit, give him a command, you know, stop doing what you're doing. And then working on getting those wires to connect the correct way, even when they're as hiked up as they are. Oh, off leg.
I can send a video. I can send you, Luke. I can send you my video if you want to.
No, I want to get a feel inside.
Off leg in.
So part of what he just did is because he knows what's coming next, because we just did this 20 minutes ago. But like
Leave
I said,
it.
the muzzle fighting, you know,
He's pretty smoked, so if you don't want to do that.
we don't do a lot of that.
Another thing with our dogs too is like they get tired like we do, so we've got to pay attention. We got to pay attention to that. Oh, as you can tell, he's panting a lot. Like he's not gonna stop. Like he will continue to go until he drops over. Basically, watch it. Off.
So he was focused on me. I was just kind of standing there. Well, then he's like, well, I just got done playing with that toy. Dad made it fun. So now it's my job as the decoy to make things fun for him, to keep him engaged with me. So like I said, when I'm fighting with him, I can't just stand there and just let him slam into me. I've got to push him back. I've got to fight him. I've got to yell. I've got to make him want to hit me. Typically, he has no problem with me. I said, this guy does not like me. So it seems to be.
That don't sound good.
Now you see he's going right back to that pillow because he's like, all right, that fun's gone. I know that fun's still over there. Fooey, off.
He's a good boy. Come here. Come on. Come on.
Like I said, I would let you guys pet him, but I don't want you guys to get muzzle punched. It's not fun. Good boy.
Could you pet the other
Good
one?
dog.
Oh.
He's a good dog. I'm a good boy.
Oh.
Poor blind.
See you guys.
What did that dog have to drink this morning?
Let's face it.
They just jumped up. Love him.
Anybody have any like general questions? I don't know what you guys talked about with Deputy Yates.
Why is there like a middle bar right in front of the muzzle?
To keep like any kind of, well, so that's typically where they're gonna hit with. So this portion's squishy. So if they're pushing into something, it's more prone for like a tooth to go through. So like this, the mouth, like a tooth could, if there's no bar there to stop that. So now when he's hitting, it's just gonna hit, and that whole thing's not gonna collapse in, or like go in and like push his nose in. So it keeps it there to protect his nose.
I was gonna say to do a little bit more damage instead of like being it squishy. Like if there was just like a solid squishy thing there, it would like do a lot less damage.
Yep, like I said,
It would not be that much protective. But the metal bar, it would hurt a lot more.
Beso?
Beso. Why doesn't Beso like you?
I don't know.
That's how dogs usually
I,
are.
like I said, me and Deputy Yates both went down, the same time to get him, so I've been around him his entire time that he's been with us. I don't know, I decoy for him a lot. I don't know if maybe he's just eventually associated with me and biting all the time. Cause he'll let other people, like with his muzzle on, some people, he'll let other like deputies that are around him on, then come up and like pet on him. I can't get close to him, he always wants to hit me.
Sounds like my dogs.
I don't know, there's no rhyme or reason, but
Sounds like my dogs.
it's I don't think it's anything like me per se. Probably just because I decoy him a lot, I don't know. But anything else?
Got any questions for me?
So I will say muzzle fighting to me is much harder than like the regular. Both are tiring, like say. But with muzzle fighting, there's so much more involved in like pushing them, you know, trying to keep them involved. But we try to do a lot of muzzle fighting because we can do that in building searches, you know, open field sends.
Gives us a lot more options. Plus, especially with it being the summer months and it getting hotter, wearing, because there's pants to go with that suit as well. You get that big fluffy suit on, you start sweating a lot. You get really hot, and it's hotter for the dogs too. We can get them off a muzzle fight a lot quicker, obviously, and then a real bite on the suit. It's easier for us. We just go out and pants and a t-shirt and hide. Dog finds us, we fight him real quick, then we run off and hide. Dog gets to go back to the truck where it's cool and get some water. With the suit, dog gets a lot more worked up with that. We get we run the risk of getting overheated. So, a little bit safer. You have a question?
Yeah. How long does it usually take to train them?
We did a 10-week course in Springfield, but we're constantly training them.
Yeah,
So it's an ever going thing.
Yeah.
It was a 10-week course, but then after you get out, we have 2 scheduled 8-hour days. But then, like I said, I work midnights just about every night. I'm getting them out and doing something. I'm sure same as Deputy Yates on days. My days off at home, I get him out, I throw his ball, throw his ball, send him to it, but I can stop him halfway there. Just doing something with him. So the training with them really never stops.
How do you know what dogs would be like good for the job?
So we went down to a big facility that had all kinds of dogs. When we get there, they brought out 13, I believe.
Yeah.
13 to 15 dogs. They'll throw a ball out in the field. And like I said, I was telling you how he's searching with his nose, not his eyes. So you'll watch him, and you're kind of wanting to see when they throw them out there. They'll throw the ball, they spin them, because those dogs are very scatterbrained. So you spin them, and they're like, where'd it go? You send them out there, and you're wanting to see, are they trying to look for it with their eyes? Is their head up? They got their nose down? Took them into a building, ran them up like on furniture, see if they're like skittish. Took them in like tight spaces, see if they're skittish. Took them in like a weight room, slapped big plates together, see if are they going to look at it, are they going to jump. So that was really the extent of the picking out portion. Just kind of seeing what kind of drive they have, or like I said, back to the ball thing. If you throw the ball twice, are they content with just getting it twice, or do they want to keep going? Because with the dogs that we're looking for, you want them to just to keep going, never give up. But like those facilities that we go to look for those kind of dogs, they kind of weed out. The dogs don't know anything actual as far as police work when we get them, but they're looking, into like bloodlines.
They know what we're looking for when we're going down there. So they're going to show us dogs that they know we're going to be like, every dog we looked at that day, we could have took any of them, and they'd have been good dogs. But they know,
they're not getting them from cousin Jimmy that had a litter of puppies in his backyard. Like both of our dogs have passports, where they were shipped in. So we go to facilities to get them, but those facilities are going to even bigger places that, like I said, they're breeding these dogs for specific purposes. So.
Somebody else had a question over here. question?
Is anybody looking at going into law enforcement or?
Me kind of. I'm thinking about joining the army.
My uncle's in the academy in Indiana to be a sheriff.
That's cool. So I wanted to be a cop pretty well my entire life. And then about a year in, or a year and a half or so, they're like, hey, would you be interested in running a dog? Like our department hadn't had a dog in 7, 8 years. So like not every department has the capability of having a dog. And then you go to bigger places that have more dogs. So I mean, it all depends where you're at. But for me to be there a year and a half and they're like, hey, you want a dog? I'm like, you're gonna pay me more. And I get to play with a dog every day. Absolutely. So if it's ever something you get into and you're offered a dog, I suggest take it. It has been one of the greatest things I've done.
It's fun for sure.
Very rewarding. Like I said, the gun that my dog found, sent the guy, or like both of his bites, like you do all this training day after day after day, and then you see it happen in real life, and it's like that you know, this is awesome, and it's super fulfilling, and like I say, just seeing the dog do what it's.
Yeah, seeing all your work come out and play in a real situation. Like you've gotten to do more things being in the city. They just have higher population, you know, higher percentage of things happening. But like I've gotten to do a couple of tracks. One successful track with my dog. We had like 2 or 3 successful tracks, but one that actually led to the person we were looking for. The other ones we found their shirt, you know, on one of them.
I mean, people get picked up by cars
Yeah.
or get into houses.
He led me to a house on one, and we found the guy there in the house later on. But the big one I did, we tracked for like 500 yards, pretty long way, and we actually got off the track at one point, and I took my dog back, and then he led me. The guy was hiding in a boat inside of a garage that didn't have a door on it. Ended up finding the guy, and this guy had just tried to run a bunch of cops off the road in a neighboring county. I went down to that county. He ended up crashing his car into a telephone pole, got out and ran. We're taught like 4 hours is our window for a good track when the odor is the best. We're past that window. We're like right at 4 hours by the time I was called and got down there, and still ended up finding the guy. And it's times like that, like that guy was a danger. I mean, he tried to, not only did he try to hurt other people, other officers, he'd also just been in a vehicle crash. Like he hit a telephone pole at a high rate of speed. When we found him, he was all beat up, and he probably had a concussion. I mean, his life was honestly in danger because if he'd have fell asleep with a concussion, I mean, he could not wake up from that. And by using my dog to track, we found him. We're able to get him to the hospital, or they were able to get him to the hospital and get him all checked out and still get him to custody so that he doesn't go and try and hurt somebody again.
So then off of that too, I mean, not everything is, like I said, I did explain how we use them for, like, whenever, like, fight work, it's not, you know, it's not always that, you know, somebody's done something bad or for bite work per se, but like, what, two weeks ago, they called us because a, like, 80-something-year-old woman that had dementia wandered away from home, and it was late at night, and that was still back when it was getting down to pretty cold at night. Called us to track, see if we could locate her. So that's something we can, you know, use the dogs for. It's not always just the bad, or like I said, buddy lost his phone out in the field, you know, stuff like that. It's not always just bad, you know, bloody bites and stuff like that. It's they're used for good purposes too. Where, like I said, we use them the most for, like I said, every night, working, we're stopping cars, you know, we're looking for drugs. So then you get into a car, you might find drugs, find guns, stuff like that that's not supposed to be out there that, you know, could potentially go on to hurt somebody.
Yeah, 'cause at the end of the day, I mean, I can speak for myself for sure, probably Sergeant Bergman as well. I mean, we didn't become cops to, you know, always fight people or whatever. It's part of the job. We have to do it sometimes, but ultimately we became cops to help people. So, and now we have dogs where we're able to do that even more so. 'Cause even if we are tracking a bad guy, that bad guy did something for us to track him. He most likely he hurt somebody. So now we're helping that person by trying to find the person that hurt them so that person can face the consequences of what he did.
And then you guys got your next group, unless there's any questions before you guys split.